Hi everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Final Gallop, episode 390, proudly supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group. The Queensland Racing Carnival is off and running and heading down to the Gold Coast this Saturday for the Hollindale Stakes Day. Shortly we'll preview our 14 runners on the card. Tony, good morning. We'll just reflect on the week that we've had, and unfortunately with some sad news this week with the passing of Spirit of Boom, a horse that contributed so much to the stable and yourself and your career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was very sad. Get the phone call early yesterday morning from Angus up there at Eureka. Obviously very sad for that family, particularly. He's been life-changing for the farm, and he's most certainly been life-changing for me at a time when him and his brother come into my yard after training their mother. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I remember seeing him in the paddock, remember the whole journey with him as a racehorse, and then him going to starting again, essentially, and doing such a good job at start right from that very first year. F Troop, Outback Barbie, Jonker was trained in Newcastle at the time. They just hit the ground running, and he's been an amazing stallion for Queensland, but more importantly, for us here and our racing family, he'd been life-changing for me, as a racehorse, him and his brother, and then him as a stallion. So, yeah, it was really sad yesterday. He was 19, obviously. But you don't expect that news. Perfectly healthy horse in the paddock in the afternoon, and then found deceased unfortunately the next morning due to an intestinal complication with his stomach, a colic type situation. So yeah, really sad, mate. It was, and I mentioned yesterday to people, I don't think my career would be on the same trajectory as where it is if it wasn't for him and his brother, and for that I'm forever thankful, and obviously the McAlpine family. So our thoughts definitely go out to them, and I think now we can reflect on over the next week and months of just the job that the horse had done. He'd done an amazing job, not only for us, but obviously for racing in Queensland and in this state particularly. Australia-wide, he had an impact, but he'd been an absolute doyen up here in our state.
So Spirit of Boom, rest in peace, mate. Appreciate everything you've done for everyone here at Gollan Racing. Now, just reflecting on last Saturday and also Tuesday with the rescheduled Archer, had State Opera come out and win first up at Eagle Farm in a really tight finish, and also honourable mention to Boomtown Boss coming third in the Archer up there. How do you think we went last weekend and Tuesday at Rockhampton?
State Opera was really good. He's True Blue probably should have won. Just a lot of trouble down the inside, and he's just a lovely import, making a good way. State Opera, she's a tricky filly, but she's doing a really good job. Loves a big track, so we'll see her poke along at a certain level during our carnival. For me, leaving Eagle Farm, I had a pretty big smile on my face with Transatlantic. I was really happy with his run in the Victory Stakes, knowing it's too short as we go to step him into the Kingston Smith, and obviously our main target is the Stradbroke Handicap, and he's pulled up fantastic. We had a rescheduled Archer due to reasons out of our control, which we don't need to go over. Everyone's going over them enough this week. But went up there on Tuesday. Both horses had settled in really well. No drama with how they raced on our behalf with the rescheduling. And I thought Boomtown Boss was really good. Rock Ribbed, he just doesn't like that surface up there, so it's not his go, that track, unfortunately. So you won't see him venture north again. But Boomtown Boss was great. As typical in those busy, bustling races, he was just his own worst enemy. When it was time to quicken, he was too busy worried about Yellow Brick to his outside. I'm sure once he switches on, or we indeed go with the blinkers on him, he could have easily went past that horse. So it was frustrating. Well done to the team with Yellow Brick. He's won 2 first up good money races now, so well done to them. But I think our horse has got a good bit of upside to him. He's only a 4-year-old, and even visually he's still not the finished product yet. So overall, pretty good weekend, Matty, as we start to really delve into this Winter Carnival.
Mm-hmm. And now, just before we get into our preview, just want to remind everyone we do have an open day on Sunday, May the 24th here at the Eagle Farm Stables from 9:30 to 11 a.m. It's a chance to visit some of our Queensland Carnival horses and inspect some of our yearlings that we have availability in, all with plenty of food and coffee catered for here as well. So if you're keen to come along, please RSVP to the stables at gollanracing.com.au email address so we can finalise numbers. But it should be a beautiful day, a chance for everyone to come out and check out the stables here at Eagle Farm.
Yeah, it'll be good. We haven't done an open day here at Eagle Farm basically since the year we probably moved in here, roughly, I think it was. So it was some time ago now. So we used to do them a bit. We haven't done them for a while. It's a good opportunity to come out here, meet the team, have a look at all the horses, look at our facilities, and understand a little bit of what goes on here on a day-to-day basis at track work, etc. And we'll have a few of our stable stars here. Might even bring Antino back in for a surprise visit for everyone to have a look at, maybe get some photos with the dual Queensland Horse of the Year. So Well, it'll be a really fun morning. RSVPs are good. They're not essential, but we'd love to know if you are planning on coming. If you don't, not unsure, and you wake up that day and you want to come, feel free to come along.
And now we'll get stuck into our preview of our Gold Coast runners this Saturday. The rail is in the true position. Track is currently a soft 7, mostly sunny conditions forecast ahead. Tony, how do you think that track is going to play down there at the coast?
Yeah, very interesting, Matty. I just, the previous meetings there, obviously we've got our rail going out and out and out, so we're going back into fresher ground, but I do note that we do see that track still quite loose, looser than what we'd like. It's still just cutting out. So they had a lot of rain at the Gold Coast last week. I know they've come back to a 7, I think, now. I know people galloped on it Tuesday morning, it still felt quite heavy. So I think this track will visually look worse than probably what it races and the times will reflect. But I'd certainly be looking at a track with cut in the ground. I don't think we're going to get back to a good reading. I'd be actually shocked if we do, to be honest. I think they got a significant amount of rain and that track still, it's just not settled yet. But look, there'll be 9 races, 9 winners. It'd be very interesting to watch these earlier races to see how this track does play as far as bias goes. But I'd be probably working on a fair enough track at the moment.
We'll get stuck into race 1. It is the benchmark 78 handicap over 1,400 metres. We'll have Daggers in this race with 59 kilos. Tommy Berry on board and drawn barrier 19. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $2.80 for the win, $1.50 for the place. He's third up for his campaign now after running well in both his first 2 starts. Running into the placings. He's also accepted in the 1,200 metre race as well. But the draw does make it tricky in this 1,400 metre race here.
It does make it tricky, but look, he's a horse that can roll forward. He's got the blinkers on him as well now. He does seem to be a horse, Tommy rode him the other day, where he's just always looking back to see what's behind him rather than concentrating on what's in front of him. So they've gone back on. His work's great. He's very fit. He's third up. I know that the guys that have him are very confident this is his distance, 1,400. And what I'm seeing in his work, I wouldn't see that not to be the case. So I'm not overly concerned with the gate. I think he'll roll up into a spot in the first 4 anyway. It's a good start at the 1,400. It's the best start there at the coast. You've got a lovely run to that first corner. So I'm not as concerned by the gate. I think the track will keep on improving to be better than what he had at Eagle Farm the other day when he ran on that basically heavy ground. I think he'll run really, really well. I know the market's already come for support for him. He's a bit maligned by the punters because he's been beat quite twice at short odds, but I think third up, blinkers on out to his right trip. He's pretty well placed.
We'll move on to race 2. It is a benchmark 85 handicap over 1,200 metres. We'll have up to 4 runners in this race. First of those we'll preview is Warby, kicking off his winter campaign. Will carry 59.5 kilos after Corey Sutherland's 2 kilo claim. Drawn barrier 2. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $18 for the win, $4.80 for the place. He's first up for the winter. As I mentioned, he's finished last prep with 4 consecutive placings, so he always races well. He's had 2 good trials leading into this race.
Yeah, he can often be the bridesmaid, not the bride, this bloke, but he's in for a good prep. He's trialling up really well. Him and himself's great, this horse. He's really, really good nick. Soft ground's fine for him, bit of the better side of soft. I think that sort of track we'll probably get here. He'll run well, but he'll save his better racing when he gets to that 1,350 to 1,500. That seems to be his sweet spot now as he's gotten older. And that's where I think he'll sit. So he'll run nice. There looks to be enough pressure for a horse like him if he can step for Corey. He's a bit awkward out the gates, this bloke. If he can just step well enough, he could sneak up and you'll see him run a really nice race. But I think we look to him when he gets out over that little bit further, and particularly when we get him on the bigger tracks with the Eagle Farm, Sunshine Coast. I think that's when you'll see this horse really excel.
The next horse we'll preview is Bundella, our little friend behind us here today. Will carry 57.5 kilos after Courtney Bellamy's 3 kilo claim. Drawn barrier 11. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $4.60 for the win and $2 for the place. He's in super form, coming off 4 consecutive wins all over this trip. His first time down to the Gold Coast, but he's one of the informed horses of the stable, if not the form.
Oh, he's got great form. This one, one of the most informed horses in the southeast, the way he's going at the moment. His ratings just keeps on going up, and he looks and feels as well as he has 3 months ago. So he's in great nick. He handles all ground, good to heavy. And then good reward for Courtney Bellamy. She's a really good little worker here at Eagle Farm. Gets the track work all the time, and she's always here with a smile on her face doing a good job. So with the 3 kilo claim, he just gets in really well in the ratings. He's a jump, run, go forward sort of horse. He'll posse up anywhere in the first 3 or 4, and we know he'll handle any ground in front of him. So he's a really nice chance in the race. Still unsure of the tempo just in this race yet, with a few more scratchings and things to unfold, but he looks as though he'll get a nice run in the first 2 or 3. And if he does, with that claim, he's well placed. So he's a good, strong horse at 1,200. We saw the other day, the short-priced horse really took him onto his outside, weakened off, and he just kept going. So he's fit, healthy. He'll be the horse they've got to sort of, I think, beat up on speed.
And the next runner we'll preview is Now Is the Hour. He is 7th emergency. There's plenty of scratchings at the moment, but still yet to gain a run. But we'll still preview him. So we'll carry 57.5 kilos with Angela Jones on board and drawn barrier 22. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $4.20 for the win, $1.80 for the place. As mentioned, needs a couple more to come out to gain a star. But if he does, he'll be second up for his campaign, much fitter from his first up run at Eagle Farm over 1,200 metres.
It'd be unlikely to run him off that wide draw, I think, even if he gains a run, which I'm not sure he will yet. 7th or 8th emergency or something he is.
So many.
Big emergencies. I'm not a fan, but look, it is what it is. I think we possibly find a better race for him back here in Brisbane off that wide draw, just setting him up for a pretty hard task from out there in what looks a messy race. So might cool our jets with him. He's improved sharply, however, off that first up run. He just blew out, a little bit of trainer error, fresh up. He'll improve a lot off that run, which he has. So we may as well keep our powder dry for the right race.
And the next runner we'll preview is 8th emergency. Here's Daggers, who we mentioned in race 1. If he runs in this race, we'll carry 55.5 kilos with Tommy Berry on board, and he's drawn barrier 10. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $4.20 for the win, $1.80 for the place. If he does make this race, the map is tricky, as you've mentioned, but the blinkers do go on, as you mentioned earlier in race 1. How do you think this race sets up for him?
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad. Obviously, he's drawn a bit better here. He'd definitely be sort of like third pair here with the amount of pressure, I would think, and he'd get an okay run. But I'm just not sure we're better off having to go at the 7 furlong with him. I think it's a much more achievable race. So they're both nice races. I did initially think when we were putting the blinkers on, we'd stay at 6 rather than go to 7, but I don't see him as a horse that's going to do too much over 7. So I'm in two minds. We'll wait and see if we get a start first, mate, then we'll see if that's an issue for us.
Cross that bridge then, yep.
Yep.
We'll move on to race 3. It is the Ken Russell Memorial Classic for 2-year-olds over 1,200 metres. We've won this race previously with Spirit of Boom and Natuno, so hopefully we can tick it off again this year. We'll have Boomelli in this race. We'll carry 55 kilos with Ben Thompson on board and drawn barrier 3. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $3.80 for the win, $1.60 for the place. She's a filly in super form. She won the Tony Gollan Memorial earlier this preparation. Really good winner last start in the Listed Callaway Gal over this trip, so she's rock hard fit. How do you think it sets up for her from barrier 3?
Yeah, I think it sets up great for her. The low draw, cut out of the track. It's ideal. We saw her on wet ground the other day. She was brilliant. She just posies up, holds a spot, and then sprints quickly. Obviously, we meet a couple of well-credentialed or particularly well-noted horses in this. When you got the full to Switzerland there, we've obviously paid a fortune for. It's a decent race, but look, the low draws are what's important to her. As we saw that at Eagle Farm, she can make use of them, which is what you want. You want to be able to just jump and hold your spot there, and then let the race unfold around you, because she's got no issue leading. She's got no issue taking a sit. So she gives Ben all the options, and he's ridden her well now. He knows her well, I should say. And I think she'll sprint off whatever spot he puts her in on speed well. So I think she's a testing material. I really do. I know there's, I said, some well credentialed and well, thought about horses in the race. But she's a nice cheap little filly like her. She could burst some bubbles. I think she's in good nick.
We'll move on to race 4. It is a listed silk stocking for fillies and mares over 1,400 metres. We were lucky enough to win this race last year with Floozy. We've got 4 chances in this year's edition. First of those we'll touch on is Lucky Girl. Will carry 60 kilos with Angela Jones on board and drawn barrier 12. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $67 for the win, $13 for the place. She'll be much improved off her first up run, which is a long break in between runs for her. She'll improve second up here. Carries 60 kilos. How do you think it sets up for her?
Fun fact, this race was my first ever stakes race. This race with Novus Through. First ever stakes winner I trained was her, and it was in this race silk stocking. It wasn't on this day, it was a different time of the year. This race has moved around a bit over the years, but it's found a good home, I think, at this start of the Winter Carnival. So there's your little fun fact out there. This filly, I think she'll go well. I had her in the mile race on really wet ground, which we weren't sure of. I then jumped her out or trialled her at Deagon the following week, and she was so much better. She went super. She's really up and about now. She's found her way in her work, and she feels like she wants to get to the races and do something. She's massively over the odds. But if she finds that American form, and I've got no problem with the ground, she trialled on very ordinary ground at Deagon and got through it easily. So I think you'll see her race a lot closer to the speed than what you think from what you saw the other day at Doomben. And she'll race, I'm not saying she'll win, but she'll race a lot better than 70 to 1.
The next runner we'll preview is Torabella. Will carry 55 kilos. Tommy Berry on board and drawn barrier 7. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $23 for the win and $6 for the place. She's first up for her winter campaign. She's had 2 trials and jump outs to get her up to the mark. How do you think it sets up for her from barrier 7?
Yeah, she's actually had 3 trials and jump outs. She's
yes.
right up to the mark fitness-wise. A little bit disappointed with a couple of them, to be honest. Thought her work, however, is good. She's fit, her action's good. She's really racing like she wants to get this trip and out to that 2000, which we had her at the end of last prep, which is where her preparation's going. So I'd love to see a real promising run here. Often those 7 furlong mile 2,000 metre horses don't trial up well in the sharper trials, which she's been in. So, you know, I want to see her race well. Tommy's a great addition to riding her. She'll be ridden forward to the speed somewhere in the first 3 pairs. I just want to see a lovely run as we start to get her out to the mile, then to the 2000.
We'll move on to Sunset Dreaming. She will carry 54.5 kilos with Daniel Moore on board and drawn barrier 13. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $9 for the win, $3.20 for the place. She came close in a couple of stakes races last summer. Second up for her campaign here after a really good solid placing over 1200 at Eagle Farm first up.
Yeah, and there's only one way to ride her. Magic Millions Day, you would have seen I completely stuffed that up. We drew wide, we went forward on her. It's just a waste of time. She's got to be ridden back and quiet, get to the outside, run on. So if the track plays that way, she'll run well. If it doesn't, there'll be another day. But she's definitely got to be ridden in that manner. So she'll just come out, she'll relax mid the back on the outside of horse. She's not one to want to go through up underneath horses. And you'll just see her really getting into the race the second half down the outside of the field. She can run well because she's weighted well, and she's definitely good enough for this grade, but the track has got to play to her coming from behind to the outside.
And the fourth runner we'll preview is 10 Deep. Will carry 53 kilos. Emily Lang on board and drawn barrier 19. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $5 for the win, $2.15 for the place. She's a mare in form. She's won 3 of her last 5 in lesser grade, but she's earned her a crack at black type here, and she's only just missed in her other 2 races. Tricky gate, but gets in with a really nice weight with Emily on.
Yeah, I think her and Em get on really well. I'm sure she's going to, but I'm not saying she's as good as Floozy, but she's got a floozy feel about her. She's really on a good trajectory, this horse. She's improved off those last couple of wins. She'll make her own luck in the first couple of pairs. She'll begin well. The barrier doesn't concern me. We'll roll up. We could either lead, we could take a sit. It wouldn't matter. We're going to be anywhere forward. We're well down on the weight, so we can be a bit adventurous down the back straight. So she's an on-pace horse. She'll love the cut in the ground, moving and feeling as well as she ever has all prep. She definitely goes on top for mine. I think she's a massive chance.
The next race we'll preview, it is race 6. It's the Bat Out of Hell over 1,000 metres. We'll have 2 runners in this race. First of those we'll preview is Golden Boom. Will carry 58 kilos with Ryan Maloney on board and drawn barrier 13. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $9 for the win, $2.80 for the place. It was a good effort first up in the Ascot over 1,000 metres, despite where he finished on paper. He's got a really good second up record, and he's run well at the Gold Coast previously.
Absolutely. I think you'll see him step much, much better. He was a little bit tardy again the other day. I'm very confident with some work we've done with him. We'll get him out the gates much cleaner. Race got plenty of speed in it. He'll roll up on that speed. Ryan's the right man to ride him off those awkward draws. He gets the horse to be able to relax well no matter where he is on pace. And I think the key to him is him breathing well and running on. He'll run huge here. The fact that run under his belt's a massive plus. He's definitely the right horse for this race.
And the second runner we'll preview is King Kapa. Will carry 56 kilos with Ben Thompson on board and drawn barrier 8. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $21 for the win and $5 for the place. He had no luck in Ascot handicap over 1,000 metres with a wide run first up, but he's run well down at the Gold Coast previously. How do you think it sets up for him from that draw?
Yeah, well, the draw could even be even be better than what it is at the moment with a couple more scratchings, a few things around. So I think he maps to get a good run. He just buggered around just the last minute, last run. When he came out of the gate, CJ went down the side of him, had to compose himself and got put into a deep position. His run was way better than it looked. The key here is him stepping well. Ben will, I'm sure, get him to step well. He'll blend into that forward pack somewhere. He's a massive giant killer. If you look at all his preparations, right since I've had him, his second up run, he's a big improver. I'd love this race probably to be 1,200. I had him in both races. I just thought he really mapped no good in the 1,200, so I went this way. He'll run well. If he's not right in the finish of this, he'll be in the finish of the Chief De Beers in 2 weeks. He's very much improved horse off that first up run. Golden Boom on top for me out of those two. Yeah, I really like that horse. He's a real specific 1,000 metre horse, and he's improved significantly off the first up run.
And the last race we'll preview, it is race 9, is the Listed ATC Trophy over 1,200 metres. Won this race previously with Cold Stone and also Rock Rib last year. We'll have 3 chances in this year's edition. Hidden Wealth will be the first we'll preview. We'll carry 60.5 kilos with James McDonald. Booked to Ride will jump from barrier 7. Early odds at Ladbrokes are $3.90 for the win, $1.75 for the place. Excellent first up run in the Ascot Handicap. Just had no luck and was super home. Second up here to the 1200 suits. He races well at the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and James can ride him as he likes. If he wants to lead on him, he can. If he wants to take a trail, he can. Ouroboros, I think, went that way. Yes. Went that way. Matty, well done. Crashed at 4:59 yesterday just to really make everyone wait which race you were going as far as speed goes. Because obviously it looks your natural leader. It's a jump and just run horse. And it looks as though we'd just jump and get a trail off that speed and then be the stronger horse. I'm hoping. He maps beautifully off the draw. McDonald's great pickup for him. Horse is in great form. Loves tracks with cut in them now at his age. It all sets up well for him. I know he's at the 60.5. I really think he's the right horse for the race.
Next runner we'll preview is Pereille. Will carry 55.5 kilos. Daniel Moore on board and drawn barrier 9. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $10 for the win, $3.10 for the place. He's first up for his winter campaign. He's unlucky in a few stakes races over the summer, placing in each of those. He's warmed up well for this with a couple of nice trials, improving into his latest trial. How do you think it sets up for him from that draw?
Sets up well enough. It just depends on what happens. I think throughout this meeting, if there happens to be an on-pace bias, they'll show more speed in this race, and then a horse like him really comes into it. Where he's drawn, he maps to be mid to back. I'm hoping just underneath him, just sucking up. He's a horse you don't want to expose to. You really get inside that 300, and if Dan can just keep getting those runs and sucking up, and you expose him, he could win any race, this bloke. He could be a real giant killer. I do like him better on tracks like Eagle Farm, hence why I had him in the Victory Stakes last week. But he drew wide. He was just going to get a shit of a run. Where I think here he maps to get a better run. He's better placed to handicap conditions. He could easily win the race. There's no doubt. I have Hidden Wealth, which I'll discuss at the end of it on top. But he could easily win the race. It all depends how this meeting flows, because these races do tend to change if the meeting has any perceived bias as we get towards these later races.
And the last runner we'll preview is About to Explode. We'll carry 53 kilos with Angela Jones on board and drawn barrier 12. Early odds with Ladbrokes are $9.50 for the win, $3 for the place. He's been working up his way up through the grades. This is his first shot at listed level. He won a few starts ago and then just held on for second last start, in his last 2. So he's in form. Draw does make it a little bit tricky from out there.
Yeah, I've had this race in mind for him for a little while now with a lightweight, and he's got it. I desperately wanted a low draw. It just goes to show in life you don't always get what you want, do you? That's the luck of the draw. But the barrier makes it a little bit trickier. We think that anyway at the moment. Maybe not. Maybe the track is playing off a little bit. As we saw the other day, he's got a more versatile pattern than probably what we give him credit for sometimes. Ben was able to really jockey up and find a spot the other day, and he gave him an absolute perfect ride, just beaten by a better heavy tracker on the day. He'll get the ground to suit. I just don't know where we get to from that awkward gate. I think it is messy. So I'm not sure. We'll chat to the team, Dave and the team at Dreamers, what their thoughts are going forward. If he runs, the weight brings him into the race for sure, because he's this level ability, definitely listed level. It's just a matter of whether we think we'll get an economical enough run from there. We wait and look at a couple of races at Doomben in a few weeks' time.
So, as you mentioned, out of those 3...
Hidden Wealth, I cannot go past him. I don't even mind him carrying that sort of weight. I think he's good enough. He loves stinging out of the ground. His first up run was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Carried weight, covered ground on the day. There was no advantage. The winner come through the inside. He's gone brilliant. He's a versatile horse now, as we've seen over the last summer. He can jump and be wherever. He's really up and about in himself. Really happy with the horse. So, he definitely on top. Out of the other 2, I think Pereille gets a slightly better run. I'm actually surprised that he's not shorter than About to Explode. But obviously they're going with the race fit horse there, the market. But Hidden Wealth definitely on top, can finish the day off for me.
Beautiful. Now, Tony, we are into the final furlong of the Final Gallop. Who's your best winning chance at the Gold Coast on Saturday?
We're standing up at the moment 4 or 5 favourites. It'd be easy to say Daggers, but I got pretty well hammered the other day when he got beat. So I'm not going to put the pressure on Daggers again, although I love them third up, blinkers on, down to their right trip. I'm going to stick with Boomelli. I think she's racing well in a really tricky 2-year-old race with horses coming from all different form lines. But I'm happy enough to back our own form line here in Queensland, and the fact she's got a low draw, she's going to get a soft track, she's going to put herself in a good spot. So I'm happy to stick with Boomelli. In the Ken Russell's my best.
Very good. And their best each way chance.
Well, you could look at a few different each way chances on the day. I probably think at the price, I'll go with Golden Boom.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I very nearly could have went with 10 deep. She's basically each way 215. I think she'll run top 3.
5,
But
215,
I'm going to go with Golden Boom. I think he's good at this level. He's well enough in at the weights. He loves getting his toe into the ground as well. There's no issue there with the track for him. And yeah, he's a real 1,000-metre specialist, particularly early up in a prep like this. We saw his runs in Group 1s in Melbourne. Fantastic. So
just no luck.
No luck and off wide draws. So and Maloney on him.
Yes.
So I think he ticks a lot of boxes for me. His last run, even in the 1100 metre race at the Gold Coast at the end of the Summer Carnival, the goal market was phenomenal. Just deep the whole way, and I should have won. So he's me each way.
Beautiful. And at the provincials over the weekend, we'll have a couple possibly out at Ipswich on Saturday and a few at the Sunny Coast on Sunday. Anything for the punters to follow at the provincials? Yeah,
well, it depends on what track we're going to get Sunday. I've just got no real faith in that Sunshine Coast track, just how much it's going to dry out. So probably steer clear of it. Texas could easily win the maiden up there with the blinkers on. But I'll go with some style at Ipswich.
Yes.
I think with that track race really, really well Monday. They had a big Labor Day meeting there Monday, which is great to see a big crowd there and whatnot, like they always get. I thought that track race really good. I imagine that they had no rain at all during the week. The weather's been quite good. So some style for me on a drying track. Bella Youngbury, really good young kid riding well. So I thought she was eyeballing outside lead the other day at Doom, not her go. So I think you'll see her in the right race run really well at Ipswich, some style.
Beautiful. And as always, Tuesday morning, a big morning of track work. Anything that caught your eye? We just had a few go around on the dirt there.
Yeah, we just worked ours early on Tuesday. I was really comfortable on their usual work track, and they've all come along good. So no standouts. Boomelli certainly still right up to the mark. There's no issues with her. She's as good as what she was a few weeks back. So I think a really nice team of horses heading down there. Everyone's ticking over nice. Hidden Wealth's in terrific condition.
And now it is time for Cav's Corner for this week, proudly supported by the Brisbane Airport Hotels Group as always. Back to the drawing board for Cav, unfortunately, with both his legs missing a place last week with Boomtown's Spanish Treasure. So let's see what method he's gone for this week. So let's head over to Cav's Corner and see what his stable multi is for this Saturday.
Welcome to Cav's Corner for this week. No joy last week, but we'll forget about last week. We'll battle on to this week. We travelled to the Gold Coast for the Hollindale Cup meeting. We'll go Boomelli, a place, into Hidden Wealth, a win at $5.50 for the $1 dividend. Good punting, guys.
So Tony, Cav has gone Boomelli, a place, into Hidden Wealth, a win. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, it's good. Well, I definitely think she can place. You know, it depends how the race plays out for Hidden Wealth, but like McDonald off a nice draw, he doesn't get it wrong very often, if ever. So, yeah, good multi.
Good multi, beautiful.
Can't
Just got to wait till the last.
I can't bag him too much today.
So Tony, look, heading into Hollindale Stakes Day and also a Mother's Day weekend as well. So hopefully a big day's racing on Saturday, and then also a happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there watching on Sunday as well.
Yeah, especially happy Mother's Day to the mums. I mean, geez, without them we're all buggered. Like, they not only give birth to us, they basically look after us for the rest of our lives. So all the mums out there, to my mum, and obviously the mother of my children, my wife Jane, happy Mother's Day, and all you mums out there, you do an amazing job. We don't probably tell you enough.
No, not at all, not at all. So good luck, punters, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Cheers.